The globe celebrated Workers' Day. It was no different here at home. The National Council of Trade Unions held their event in Daveyton in Gauteng. Their message this year is to vote for a government that cares for workers.
Singing in one voice, these workers want change. And for this federation that's been around for 33 years, that change starts with a new government.
In South Africa, it's very important, particularly as we are going to the elections. Workers must make sure that they elect a government that will respect their rights and will always be on their side, so that the rights granted by the Labour Relations Act are not evaded by a government that might be hostile to their interest.
A moment of silence was observed to remember fallen workers.
We are sending the message through and through that let our government get experts. People cannot just get buried underground and not be retrieved. We need those bones. In our culture, we only get satisfaction once we know where we have put our own.
And with the elections looming large, workers have been encouraged to fight for their rights. Sibongile Mkanimbolweni, SABC News, Daveyton.
So earlier we spoke to some of the trade union federations, COSATU, SAFTU, FEDUSA, and we're now joined by the National Council of Trade Unions, the General Secretary, Narius Moloto, on the line for us. Mr. Moloto, thank you for being with us. So we were talking earlier about the parties that workers should back. SAFTU a bit uncertain about its own union member, NUMSA's a new political party, of course COSATU supporting the ANC. Are you telling workers to vote for the PAC? As I understand, you're still affiliated with a political party as well as a trade union federation.
No, NACTU has not called upon its members to vote specific political party. We, however, emphasize that the workers must vote for a party that has policies which seeks to protect our interests as workers, and also that seeks to defend the national interest, identify and promote the national interest.
So who is that party? The PAC?
Yeah, no, PAC is one of the parties. We argued that the PAC is emphasized. If you look at the constitution of NACTU, historically and what they are fighting for, they've always been said they are fighting for redistribution of the land and of the wealth of the country. So there are similarities. Although we don't specifically want to divide workers along political lines, we are aware that we have members of different political parties, but we encourage them that going into the elections is very important for them not to repeat the mistakes that they've done by ignoring their own interests as workers in the interest of the poor people. Yes, it's true, PAC is one of the parties that has the similar policies with NACTU.
Do you ever regret your decision to keep on these two hats? As I understand it, some of the affiliates wanted you to step down. They didn't like the fact that you were still head of the PAC and worried about that. AMCU actually leaving your organization. Do you regret it?
No, I don't regret, because I was elected in this position of being the General Secretary. I was not appointed. I was elected. And while affiliates are different, when you are elected, you might be elected by 51%, and the 49% is not necessarily there. But I've served the workers in this country for many, many years, and I've done so to the best of my ability. I don't do that. When I ascended into the Secretary General of NACTU, NACTU was almost dead. I contributed in rebuilding and strengthening NACTU. NACTU today is one of the respected trade union federations. It still obviously have some areas to be attended to, but all those who know the history of NACTU and my contribution into NACTU are happy. Yes, I would have loved to see young people, other people including the deputy and grooming the young people to take leadership going into the future. That's the intention. It's not for the gain.
All right. Thank you for your time this evening. NACTU General Secretary Narius Moloto on the line from Gauteng. And that brings us to the end